Hey YouTube, what's up? What's today, the 14th? It's Friday. Happy Friday. The weekend is here. I was going to say near, but the weekend here, baby. You guys, I'm really sad. I have officially failed my first test since I have been coming to nursing school. I failed my first test with a 63. And it was in growth and development. And it wasn't necessarily content that was hard to grasp. It was me. One thing I normally never do, like, don't switch up. If something is working for you in nursing school or whatever you learning, do not switch up. And that's where I went wrong with my studying yesterday. I decided to go ahead because it's three, as you guys know by now from following me, you have to make a 70% or better in every section. So the first section of my Foundations 2 blog is growth and development, and then we move on to skills. There's 3 tests in that, and then we move on to pharmacology. It's 3 tests in that, and then we move on to mental health, and it's 4 tests in that. So we just finished growth and development today. My first test I made a 92. My second test I made a 88. No, my first test I made an 88. My second test I made a 92. And my third test I made a 63 today. So I'm sitting at an 81 average. And you need a 70 to keep going. So your girl is still in the game. But I will never switch up my studying styles. I basically went ahead because I looked at how much, these chapters are thick for the skills test portion, which is the second section. It's so much. So I just kind of got overwhelmed when she went through the lecture yesterday, and I decided to go ahead and do all of my online work for the whole entire next week so I can just study, so I can make really good grades on those. But I short stepped myself by not going as in depth with my studying that I normally do, because with this test I just really didn't know most of the material that the questions was asking, to be honest. And then the other half that I missed, I knew the material, but I didn't go by the book answers. I went by me. Like, for instance, one of the questions was asking when it comes to death and dying, because the last chapter was on death and dying and the grieving process of human development. That was the test today. So it would ask questions. The patient is crying because he has been diagnosed with a terminally ill cancer. And he states to you that he would like a miracle. He would really like for a miracle to happen and wake up tomorrow and he's a healthy 20-year-old. So I used the process of elimination. I narrowed it down to 2. One said, because he's like, he wants some hope in the question. One of the answers was, as a nurse, you can tell them that your hope will be taking the medication, so that way your symptoms will be better and you will have a lesser experience with the dying process. And then the other one was the one that I picked because I felt like, when I take NCLEX, because I took NCLEX questions on this chapter, and the NCLEX always says don't give false hopes. Like, as a nurse, you wouldn't give somebody false hope. So when I read it the first time, I looked at it as you giving somebody false hope. You saying your hope gonna be in some medication. To me, that sounded silly. So the answer that I picked was the other one, and it went something like, I understand what you're going through right now. I could definitely understand coping with this matter can be life altering, something like that. So I chose that one. I took the empathetic approach. As a nurse, you're supposed to be empathetic. You don't give false hope. But the answer was actually the other one, and that's pretty much how all the other half went. Stuff like that. So when the teacher went back over the test with me, because I make A's on everything, A's are a high B, all my tests. It's my first test I ever done this way. So she put me to the side and we went through the questions, and I let her know my thought process. She was like, no, this is why. And when she went over it, I kind of understood, but still I was just really like. And then the other, like, if I would have, even with me doing so, missing those many questions from that standpoint of the test, I still would have passed if I would have read the chapter. I usually read the chapter and I look at the PowerPoint, but I didn't do that because I was too busy doing all the work for the next week, the following week. Worry about the next week. I ain't even got through the test yet. this section yet, and I'm already worried about the next section. So I will never do that again. No matter how overwhelmed I get, how much work is ahead of me, I will never, ever, 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 never, never, ever, never do that again, because that will be to my downfall. That would be to my downfall. And obviously failed my first test, you guys, with a 63. What is that? What is that? What is a 63? Like, what is that? You wouldn't want no nurse taking care of you. No 63% of that. Senators. But I know why I went wrong, and it won't happen again. I'm just so down on myself. Let me just be in my feelings. I'm not gonna make this video more negative than what it is. I'm not gonna get into a whole spiel on what I shoulda, coulda, woulda did. I already said that. But yeah, don't stick to what you know. Don't change. See y'all in the next video. I'm just low key in my feelings, but it's gonna be okay. Y'all have a good weekend. I love y'all. Thanks for the support. Go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, and pray for your girl.
It gets better. It gets better. It gets better.